Welcome to episode 8 of Justice for Family Court Children. That's hashtag Justice for FC Children. We're going to be speaking to Natalie today from the Court Said. She's coming as our special guest to speak about everything family court. As usual, I've got my campaign partner Charlotte Budd with me, and we've got Sarah with us today who's been on before. So I won't introduce you too much, Sarah, because we've had you on another episode. We're speaking specifically today about the letter to Robert Buckland that we've wrote, the Justice Minister. We've been asking for redress on the cases of decisions, unsafe contact decisions that have been made and children removed from the safe parent. We've discussed it before on a few episodes, but we're going to go into more depth today of how me and Natalie came together to write the letter, edit the letter, and bring in a lot of domestic abuse campaigners, charities, commissioners, solicitors, lots of amazing people and organisations signed a letter with us. So I'm just going to pass over to Natalie to explain a little bit more of what we've been up to the last few weeks.
Well, it all started after the review. As soon as the review was published, the government published their document about the harms in family court. Everything that we had been saying was confirmed in there. It was a truly damning report, wasn't it? Absolutely damning, but commendable that it was done. But that left survivors in really quite a predicament, because then they've been told by the government, yes, we've harmed you. Yes, there's been some wrongdoing, and your order's probably unsafe, because that's by confirming the harm in family court. That's really what they're confirming to the survivors. The survivors, we know this anyway. We know when we're living with an unsafe order. We know, obviously, when serious injustice has happened, like the wrongful removal of a child. So survivors are in this position whereby that stuff has happened. It has been confirmed by the government that this is happening. So it's still happening. So these cases now that are still in court, or they've been subjected to some terrible decisions, have nowhere to go, nowhere. There is a proverbial brick wall in place where justice should be, because there is no recourse. There is no method of getting those decisions overturned without meeting some more judicial bias, because it might involve an appeal that you may not even get, you might not even be entitled to, but still you're living with the results of a terrible family court decision. So something needs to happen. We need some kind of case review. So as soon as that review came out, I was like, well, where does this leave people? Because it's nowhere really. It's exactly the same, except for they've said, yes, we've harmed you, but they haven't done anything to make amends for that. Yeah. So I felt extremely strongly that that recourse is an absolute must, because I had survivors that were coming to me for help in their cases and via the court confidence course in the classroom, and they were writing to ministers, because this review had come out. They were writing to ministers and saying, my case is terrifying, can you please help me? There's some serious injustice going down, they've got lots of evidence of it. And ministers replied, it's too late, and they hadn't even had their final hearing. So if it's not too late when you're in there, and it's certainly too late when you're out of there, then there's no other option but to create a separate vehicle and mechanism for legal redress for these cases. I just couldn't see any other way that this could be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, I was really shocked when the review came out. I remember getting, tweeted about, added into tweets with Louise Haigh put a tweet out, the main MP that campaigned, and Liz Perkins from The Express, who did the main campaign, End This Injustice. They both put me in tweets, and they kind of said, we've won, look, we've won. And I thought, how have I won? How has my daughter won? We've not won.
If nothing changes, nothing's won, is it? So change needs to happen. So they've got the forward change and by the reforms that are coming next. So that's good. But right now it's business as usual, and what's gone on before is going on right now, and there's nothing that we can do about it without recourse. So literally we need everybody to get behind this, because it doesn't change anything for you, it doesn't change anything for anybody that has already been harmed by this system, or is just about to. For the ones that are just going in now, it's still business as usual.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in court at the minute, and there is definitely no change. I mean, these professionals still think that what they're doing is absolutely fine, even after the review. I mean, you were really good, Natalie. As soon as it went out, you got your petition together. You know, I was really impressed by how quickly you responded to the review and got your petition out, which obviously got us talking about you know, next steps. So yeah, your link to, I'll put all the links underneath this. There is a link to a petition for redress and recourse on these cases where children are being sent to unsafe contact or have been removed from the safe parent. So we're going to put that underneath. I mean, the second thing we did together, was the letter to Robert Buckland. So
Yes,
do you want to give a little bit of a background about what's in the letter and what we're asking for?
Yeah, in the letter, I mean, we put our heads together about that, because you were telling me, weren't you? Look, nothing's changing. I've got all this evidence, and nothing's changed for me at all. And you know, and I'm like, yeah, same as everybody else who's coming to me, and I'm sure the people coming to you as well. So we put our heads together, and we were like, right, well, we need an open letter, don't we? Let's really put our stall out there with the government, and we need to know their position on recourse. So we decided to write the letter. It was the busiest week I think I've ever had. I completely underestimated how much work was involved in that. There was a lot of work, wasn't it, Victoria? We did everything.
Yeah, well, Natalie, you did most of the work. Yeah. Natalie was amazing. She put, because I was like, this is what I think there should be. I think it should just be two things, simple, you know, and we can get as many people to agree as possible. And I said, I'll pass it over to you to do the English. And Natalie put the letter together, and it was, I mean, what do we change? Like 2 words on it when we edited it. It was absolutely amazing. And then you did all the work with the website. And I remember you saying, right, let's get it out. And by Monday, you pretty much had everyone sign it. And there was just a few more people. I was like, I think by the time I had got to everyone, they were like, oh, Natalie's messaged me about that as well. I was like, oh, great. We'll just tag team, yeah. So we tag teamed.
It was good though.
People. Yeah.
It was really, really good. And, you know, it just shows you what we can achieve when we collaborate as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because we did do that together, because you were emailing the same people and messaging them, bugging everybody the same as me, but that's how you get stuff done, right? So it's like we did that from start to finish in less than 7 days. I think we should be really proud of ourselves. But I think it was also really telling that so many organizations got behind it. Nobody thinks that we shouldn't have recourse, basically, apart from the people that are worried about either spending money, or they're worried about the status quo, i.e. the narrative's working for them at the moment, because, you know, it's not working for us as mothers, but there are others that are pretty cool with that, you know. So they're the only people really that have sort of objected to it and said, oh no, it's going to be you know, we can't do that. Because I think everyone really that I came across is completely supportive of it. And, you know, and afterwards as well, I've had lots of messages going, I saw the letter and I saw your email, but they were on holiday at the time, or, you know, they just missed it. So we would have had a lot more, but see, those people are all now supporting recourse. And, you know, so we've got all these organisations behind us, which is absolutely great. But I think what we need to do next is to really unite everyone behind this issue and say, no, we need justice. We need justice. If there is no justice, then what is there? I mean, you know, we have to see this through. We have to see this through to the end. And that's going to mean a really robust effort from everyone, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just to name a few people that we got Safe Lives, which is one of the biggest domestic abuse charities in the country. You know, it just happened that day. I spoke to one of the ladies who worked there, and she said she will put it in front of the CEO of Safe Lives. and the Domestic Abuse Commissioner that afternoon, which was just like, that was just luck, I think, that happened and we got that signed. And then obviously we got Rachel Williams, Zoe Dronfield, David Challen, Sammy Woodhouse, all the big campaigners for domestic abuse changes and laws and policies and procedures.
I thought it was really encouraging that we had the academics and legal experts signing it and supporting it as well, because, you know, I think that validates that we know what's happened and we know what needs to happen next. And I think it's really encouraging that rights lawyers have got behind this as well, like human rights lawyers, because the issues in family court, really plain and simply, are human rights issues. We are subjected to some really quite inhumane and degrading treatment, and often lose our right to family life as well in the process. So it's, you know, I think it's really encouraging that people are seeing it for the issue that it actually is and how serious it is, you know.
I mean, because you've got a course, don't you, called Court Confidence, that helps people, survivors, go through family court. Do you want to give us a little bit of a background about that and how it helps?
My course is online. You go to www.courtconfidence.com. I didn't say enough W's then. It's www.courtconfidence.com. Sorry. So basically it's a 7-module online course. You can learn at your own pace. But what is covered in there, well, there's absolutely loads covered in there. It's basically everything that I wish someone had told me like 10 years ago. I mean, it would have been marvellous if someone had actually put that in front of me 10 years ago. I wouldn't be on this call now, you know, I don't think. You know, I think it may well have changed things. Now, it's for an imperfect system, okay, so it's written specifically for domestic abuse survivors experiencing the specific problems that we experience in family court. So it's quite narrowly focused. What it really helps with is how to strengthen your position, because with the #TheCourtSaid campaign, I mean, we've got about 20,000 survivors just in England and Wales. And obviously we've got campaigns all over the world now as well. So that meant that we could see a really, really good view of how survivors were approaching their cases, the problems that they were having. And so whilst the system's absolutely shambolic and it's notoriously difficult, there are ways that that are completely within your control that can actually help protect you a little bit. So we're not saying, you know, oh, this is going to help you win. It might, but what it'll actually do is it will help you protect your position. So things like protecting your position from an allegation of parental alienation coming at you in court, or learning how to deal with CAFCAS, because people get advice all the time and it's well-meaning, but it's not very well explained. So people will, I see it all the time, people say to survivors, oh yeah, by all means, challenge CAFCAS. They don't say how. They're not telling people how and what that's supposed to look like. So obviously when you've got a domestic abuse survivor who also might be triggered as well into a triggered response, it can actually damage the case. So it's more like how to modify your communication, your behaviour to protect your position in a really difficult system. There's been some interesting feedback from it as well, which has been really encouraging. Lots of people reporting some really nice things. It's currently 5-star rated, which I'm really, really proud of. And it is helping in a lot of cases. So it's basically everything that you really should be told before you go in, but nobody ever does tell you.
So I'm just going to bring in the girls now. Sarah, could you have done with some help when you went through family court?
Exactly.
Some advice?
Yeah, exactly like Natalie said. If somebody had given me, I just think if I had gone through that and we had the court said and we had court confidence and we had all of these campaigns and organisations so widely spoken about, then my situation, oh my God, not just my the impacts to me, but on my eldest child. It's been horrific and it's lifelong. I've spent a lot of time, like you say, the approach to CAFCAS. I think if I'd have had some advice, I've not spoken to anybody that hasn't put a complaint forward to CAFCAS, but I think you're right when you're talking about how you modify that in your own behaviour, because we all go guns blazing and it's not, we're just not going to get the response that we need fairly. So yeah, definitely. And the fact that we see it today, the number of people, it's like history repeating itself over and over again. It's been 2006 since I was in court going through this. And like I'd said before, my son now, we have to try and cope with, you know, substance abuse because of all of the trauma that he's dealt with and dealing with to this day, suicidal ideation, etc. We're having now a generation of children that are dealing with these impacts for life. Yeah. So yeah, I do wish that we had more support when I was going through this, definitely.
Yeah, and I think as
go on, sorry, Victoria.
No, go on, Natalie.
So what the course does is it helps you communicate in the way the court understands it and helps them hear in a system that's unwilling to listen. So it's it goes some way to protecting you in there, just having that knowledge and knowing how best to approach it. And you know, there was just a basic skills gap really, because you know, a lot of the fathers' rights, they get given pretty good advice actually upon entering family court, but mothers, we don't get given any, but apart from perhaps a solicitor if you're lucky enough to get one. So and this is all for the parts of the process that your solicitor can't do for you. Okay, so your solicitor will not be cross-examined. Your solicitor will not be holding your hand in a CAFCAS meeting. Your solicitor will not be on the other end of the phone with the CAFCAS office there. You know, you will be. So it's all of the parts of the process that you have to do yourself, regardless of being represented or not.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring in Charlotte at this point, because I mean we're working together on the our little campaign #Justice for Family Court Children. But I think one thing that, you know, I think we'll all agree is, like Sarah was saying, we didn't all have this when we were going through family court in the beginning, and having, you know, people, you know, petitions and campaigns and the support and court confidence and things like that. I think also when you come out of an abusive relationship and you a lot of times you go straight into court because they've split up or they've lost control of you, and it's a way of so your confidence is very, very low when you're going into court, and when you're fighting it on your own and you don't know that anybody else is going through it and you feel like it's only you, it's horrific, and that they gaslight you in there as well, and you know your confidence is dropped even more. And I think sometimes have all this support and have all these mainly women, but you know, survivors who've gone through it, it does actually help to kind of feel like, okay, you're not going through it alone. There are other people, it's not just me, and then it helps to not be gaslighted as much and drop your confidence as much. But Charlotte, I know that me and you met through the Women's Aid Facebook, and I think it helped. Has it helped you at all to find other people that are going through it and gain support from that?
Yeah, definitely. First letter from court to say about the first hearing, I remember this feeling of absolute dread, because I'd never been in a courtroom for anything before, so I had no idea what to expect. I didn't really know where to turn for help at that point, and like Victoria said, you're in a bit of a traumatized state, because of everything that's happened in the relationship, but you're also really naive. But I remember going into that courtroom and feeling it was so daunting and frightening to me. And obviously it's about the most precious thing that you have, and that's your child. So it's awful, and you have no clue what's going on. I had no advice, and I just remember breaking down and crying, because I just found it petrifying and really intimidating. And you've got these judges or magistrates sitting there looking down on you, and you don't know what's going on. You've got your perpetrators the other side of you, who a lot of the time, in my case, has a very good barrister and solicitor that throws loads of legal jargon at you that you have no clue what is about. So yeah, when I started, unfortunately for me, it came a lot later. I am still going through family court, but it wasn't until I started speaking to women like Victoria, and I think when Victoria introduced me to the Zoom meetings with Rachel Williams, to have other women that had been through what I had, but also to have professionals recognising what I'd been through in the relationship, but also in family court. It was the first time I felt my feelings were sort of validated, and that all the injustices that had happened to me, all the trauma, was sort of validated and understood. And that really, really helped for me personally. And obviously when I was then driven to sort of think, right, this can't carry on, this injustice. It's not just me, it's hundreds and hundreds, thousands of other women and children. I could not believe what went on in family court within my case, and it's still going on. This is the issue. Despite the review with the domestic abuse bill, despite that they're recognising that there's major issues, it's still business as usual. And there's not even like a little bit of caution. Like, there's no feeling of like, oh, maybe we should, just hold back a bit, just be a bit careful. They don't seem to really care. They're just still carrying on. And I find it really arrogant of them, really, that they're ignoring thousands of women that have told their stories, and professionals saying, no, there needs to be change. The government recognising, yes, there needs to be change. And this is why this letter to Robert Buckland and everything that we're all trying to do is so important, to have a review of cases, to sort of set a precedence in order to move forward and to really make change for women and children and victims.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke a little bit about on Wednesday how me and Charlotte met and started working together on our little campaign. And I think we just need to keep on pushing now, and it's good to be collaborating with the courts ed as well, and to get all safe lives. And it's such an amazing little team, the domestic abuse sector, and it is really good that we're all pushing forward. We're all we're all on the same page. It's not like anybody's even diverting a little bit. We're all on the same page. We all want the same thing. We all want our children safe, our children home, safe. So what we're doing now, we've moved a little bit further forward. I wrote a blog this week for the Courts Ed website, and on it we've got a few little instructions to try and get survivors and anybody who's gone through it to try and lobby Robert Buckland. It's so difficult to speak with braces on, sorry. So we will put a link below to my blog, and basically I'm just explaining a little bit about my story, how I've come into campaigning for family court, and personally what I hope for the future. And underneath we've got a few little instructions, and I'm going to pass over to Natalie to explain a little bit clearer what we're asking survivors to do. We're asking, survivors and children that are old enough. I'll pass it on to you, Natalie, to explain.
Okay. Yeah, so in the link that Victoria is going to share with you below will be a link to the Courts Ed website. So that's thecourtsed.org. That's where our blog is. Lots of interesting articles on there as well, one of which Victoria wrote, and we put it out this week. In that article, there's quite a few links for another page on the website, which is a how you can help page. So we're planning on building on that at the moment. There's a few ways that you can help that are really easy to do from that page. Just a click of a button, it takes no time at all. There's an automatic tweet that you can just literally just look at, press a button, and it magically tweets. We're tagging Robert, sorry, not Richard. We're tagging Robert Buckland, saying, ask Robert. We're asking Robert for recourse. So we need to be, if you want to just tweet the automatic tweet, you can. But if you want to get creative and ask Robert in lots of creative ways about recourse and why we need it, use the hashtag Ask Robert, and don't forget to tag him so it comes up in his mentions.
Yeah,
so
and
that's all on there. That's all on the website. And there's other buttons as well for emailing your MP, making a donation, and lots of other bits and bobs on there that for you to explore.
yeah, you can sign the petition on there as well. And the writing to your MP is actually really easy. I went through it just to make sure that I could do it. And it says download the PDF. So you just download the PDF, copy and paste, and then press write to MPs. You put your postcode in there, it brings up your MP, you paste the letter and then add in whatever you want to add in. I added in the open letter to Robert Buckland as well and just said this is what we're asking for, and asked the MP for the support and sent that off. So I think it took me at the most 3 minutes. So it is really easy to do for everyone.
And if you didn't want to write anything, you don't have to, it's all there. Just download the letter on your device, follow the link, put your postcode in, attach it to an email and send. That is it. It's really it's like a 3-click process. It takes less than a minute of your time. So everyone, please email your MPs, lobby your MPs, get them fighting for us about the issue of recourse, because you know there's been so much unsafe decisions. It's about time something was done. We need to put things right.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if a woman is going into family court right now and that child is 6 months old, 8 months old, that's another 18 years of pure hell for that victim and that child.
Yeah. And we know as well that your first case will usually set the narrative for any subsequent cases as well. So if you maybe don't approach it as best you can because you don't know, you haven't had any advice, you know, if there's been mistakes or there's been injustice as well on their part, you know, that really can follow a person. So if you end up with like me, the label of hostile, that can follow you for like years around the system. So even now, if people are being subjected to this injustice now, how long it lasts for is it's an entire childhood. If they hang on to residency, they're still subject to injustice and unsafe orders. But if they lose residence of their child unjustly because of domestic abuse now, that decision still is not reversible. It's not reversible, even though they know it's unjust.
Yeah, I mean we've been vindicated in the review. They know that they've done wrong, so they really should have put something in place for the cases that were wrong. We're just going to bring it back now to what we do every time, is that the walk up Ben Nevis. So we've got the girls going up Ben Nevis to raise awareness of the family court review, the letter to Robert Buckland, everything that we're asking for, which is changing the family court system. So the girls are going to go up. What have you got now? Oh goodness, 2 weeks, girls. You know, it's only a couple of weeks. I can't believe when we were talking about it, and the girls were like, should we do it, should we not? It was like a month ago, but now you've got 2 weeks. How do you feel about that, Sarah? 2 weeks to get fit?
So I told myself about 3 weeks ago that I was going to start a routine of getting ready and prepped, and today is the first day properly. I'm walking more, but that's about it. So today I am climbing a volcano, which I will continue to do every day to prep myself. That just sounds good, doesn't it? I'm climbing a volcano. It's a dormant, it's a park, it's great, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's obviously for a great cause. Awareness does need to be brought 100%. I think we're all sort of contacting our local areas, media, etc., to try and get some more focus and attention on it. And when Charlotte posted in the group that, you know, she was going, I thought I couldn't bear the thought of her going alone. And thought, right, okay, I'll jump on. But you know, when you get that moment, you're like, oh no. But no, it's going to be really good and liberating, and just something I'll remember forever. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that I'm doing it with amazing women and people.
Yeah, I'm to be honest, I'm really jealous. I wish I was going up myself, but I'm happy that you're doing it. No,
cheering you on from my sofa.
yeah, I was going to say, don't you want to go up, Natalie? Do you think you don't fancy a little trek?
Yeah, not today. Not today. I haven't done any training for the last 23 years, so
I think we have to use our skills, don't we? I think my skills is supporting. My skills is definitely supporting.
Yeah, I'll support this one definitely. But no, I won't be walking it. Well, I suppose I could, but yeah, I don't know. Never. That's a big thing, isn't it, to do? I think it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. You're
when
gonna
Charlotte,
have such a sense of achievement after that.
Yeah, I can't believe it when Charlotte came with the idea. I was like, yeah, do it. That'll be fun. And George is doing it as well. I don't know how you're going to get her out of bed, but I think that's going to be the achievement.
To do with a sleeping bag, isn't it? A sleeping bag and dragging it along, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just a sledge. You can drag her on a sledge.
There we go. Charlotte, how's your workout routine going?
I have been training a couple of times a week in the gym, but really I need to break in my walking boots a little bit more. I haven't been doing that as much, but I need to do that. But yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to doing it, and there's more and more of the court mums coming, and we've got a really good group going up, so I think it should be fun. As much as it's going to be a little bit of a challenge and we'll be aching the next day, it's for a really good cause, and obviously we wanted to do something that was going to make a bit of an impact and that's worth people getting involved with and taking notice of as well. So yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, and everything, proceeds go to Stand Up to Domestic Abuse, which is Rachel Williams' charity, and that goes to fund the Freedom Programme and lots more. It helps lots of women like us that's been through horrendous situations, and yeah, Rachel Williams is awesome. So I'm happy that it's going there, and we can support that. So I'm going to wrap up for today, because I think, is there anything else anybody else would like to speak about this morning? No, I think we've covered everything. I think we've done really well, and yeah, we've got everything in there today. But yeah, so I'm going to put all the links underneath. We're going to keep on lobbying our MPs and lobbying Rob Buckland, and he'll have had enough of us and give us redress in the end, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll work on it, won't we?
Yeah.
So, cool.
And we'll let everyone know how it's going with the training, and yeah, and you can let us know how many cakes you've had in the last few weeks. Oh, sugar, isn't it?
It wasn't my fault.
It's sugar. You're going to need it. You know,
it's energy.
Yeah.
Actually, I might do that. I might pack some like really big birthday cakes and stick them in my backpack, so we can like stop and get our sugar buzz. Keep going.
Yeah, and then it'll be lighter on the way down. You know, when you're going back, because you would have eaten by the time you get there.
Exactly.
In Cumbria, we have something called Kendal mint cake. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah, I used to get that on school trips sometimes.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but it's basically it's what they get. It's basically all sugar, and you can get it from anywhere in the Lake District. And trekkers, people going up the mountains, eat it before, so it's good for you, sugar. See?
Yeah. And chocolate. They eat that in the Arctic to stay warm. I was like, oh, I could entertain a trip to the Arctic, definitely.
Yeah. There you go. There's an excuse for you. Okay, ladies, we'll wrap it up for today, and thank you so much for joining us as usual. And yeah, we'll be probably back.
Thank you for having me, guys, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks, Sarah. Bye.